Right, how are we doing everybody? Welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. Today, as we are now officially kind of out of lockdown, means the golf courses are busy again, people are playing golf, and the people that I've been working with online are now getting the opportunity for those that didn't have previously to basically get back out on the golf course, or at least down the driving range, and start hitting some shots. It's a big difference. Right, it's a massive switch in the environment between hitting balls into a net, let alone if it's not a real ball, to then coming down the driving range or playing golf. So then the question is, I suppose, that we're trying to chat about today is how do you relate the information that you've been taking on board, whether it's stuff you've been messing around with on your own or whether it's advice that you've been given, and how do you actually put that into context then when it comes to playing golf? So if you like, we're officially talking about a pre-shot routine. I'm going to hit some shots. I've hit one here. I've got an 8-iron on the kind of top tracer system here, and I'm aiming down over the 100-yard marker towards a flag which is about 150 yards away. So I've got a clear vision of basically that target. Now, for myself, you know, or for you guys, we have in golf an opportunity to have anything from whatever 30 seconds, maybe slightly more, 45 seconds prior to hitting the golf ball. So when it comes to the reaction, we have time, right? Although the golf swing itself is going to be really quick, but we have time to compose ourselves before each shot and to try and outlay a bit of a routine. So that's the key thing, right? When we actually come to hitting the ball, and we're not going into this into a vast amount of detail today, you have to have more of a sort of sequencing feel in place. So like a trigger that then triggers a sequence of motion, right? But you also have to have the ability to react. That's the key thing really when practicing or playing. It's kind of like if you hit one left, you kind of need to know what to do on the next one to hopefully not let that happen again. Hence why you're having lessons, or hence why you hopefully understand what it is that you're working on yourself. Now, you have this opportunity that when you're playing golf, you would be looking at where you're going. So that might mean that you've got to choose your club, right? So for, like I say, I've chose my 8-iron, you'd be thinking about the wind conditions. You'd be thinking about the ground. You'd be thinking about then your target. You might then be thinking about the ball flight, right? Or you might just be thinking about where you can't miss, and therefore you're trying to create positivity and where you want to hit it, right? So you might be thinking, I'm going to aim slightly right because I don't want to go in that bunker. So you'd be kind of, those would be your sort of initial sort of thoughts, right? Then you'd be thinking about your technique to give you the best chance to do that. And that's where we'd be thinking about different things. Some of you might be thinking, right, if I can get my right hip back, that creates space to bring my elbow into, which helps me then get this feeling of pushing my right hand through in the hit. Some people might be thinking more about, right, I'm getting too tilted, so I'm going to think more about pelvis down in towards my left leg, get the upper leg towards the target, and I'm thinking more about hitting down and through the ball with the handle more towards the left hand side. These swing thoughts for different level of golfers might change upon the desired sort of outcome that you're trying to play. But that's the big thing. So this moment here, this is why you're having lessons in this sort of area. You're having lessons so that you know what to try and do, and hopefully you've got a few little drills or feels to help you then execute this. But then you've got to forget it, right? So then you've got to just kind of hope that all of that practice that you'd been doing has built its way into sort of, should we say, your long-term memory bank, so that when you get over that ball, you can recall it back into short-term memory and kind of, should we say, grab it out the library and hope it performs. And if you haven't done a lot of repetition on it, then that's where you're going to fall a little bit vulnerable. So anyway, you would kind of then get yourself set up so you'd be focusing solely now, right, all about where you want the ball to go. And we'll see where this goes. So you'd be just looking solely now at the target. And for me, that's not bad. It's a decent sort of hit, ever so slightly right in terms of where it's going to end up. Not as pure as the previous one I hit, but it was okay. So it was a little bit clean in the contact. And as I'm down the driving range, I might reflect upon that on the next shot. So if we kind of do that again, I might think, okay, well, you know, how am I going to make that happen? How am I going to get that contact a little bit better? Or you might hit another one where you were relatively happy. But then you might be thinking, okay, all right, I've been working on getting this hit back. Maybe I just need to feel a little bit more centered to get that contact and striking down. So again, you might do your same sort of routine, but you might just emphasize it a little bit more to help you get that feeling of compression, and then go through the same focus point of setup. Think about where you're aiming, solely looking at the flag. And that one is straighter. Again, a bit of a miss hit, but not too bad again in terms of, very good in terms of direction, and not bad at all. So this is the way that you guys should be practicing when you go back down the range, is that you don't necessarily want to get yourself a load of those and just start hitting. Have a little bit of a process. So each and every time, just step back, have a little think about what it is that you're thinking about. That could be dependent obviously on every person, and you could have loads of different thoughts, but you're trying to hit the ball with no thoughts at all really, apart from some sort of sequence which we'll come back to, looking at your target. Better contact, hitting, and then use that opportunity to reflect afterwards and then take it forward from there. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Get back out there practicing, take this advice on. Hopefully it helps. Definitely need this sort of pre to stepping in and hitting, and this you just need to kind of hit it. We're going to talk about reactions, we're going to talk about things that we don't like and why we sometimes feel like we don't like things as well. But that's enough for today. Catch up with you guys again soon.